Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nicole. If you're new here, welcome. So today I am going to be filming a pregnancy update and a further explanation of my diagnosis that I kind of went into a little bit about in my last video. So I am 20 weeks pregnant, and I have a doctor's appointment coming up at the end of this week. So to give you guys a little bit of background about this pregnancy, I got pregnant in February of 2019, and as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I went ahead and I seeked out a midwife because I knew I wanted a more natural birthing experience this time around. My last two kids were born in military hospitals. I had great experiences both times, but I wanted to experience something completely natural and just out of the hospital, not, in that controlled environment so much. So I found a wonderful midwife, and I was super excited about being able to experience this pregnancy in a different light. So fast forward, I met with him around, I think I was around 8 weeks pregnant, maybe even a little bit sooner than that, which normally if you've been pregnant, you know that you don't usually get seen by an OBGYN until you're around 14 weeks, I think it is, maybe 12. So I knew just from the get-go that this was different. It was a positive, uplifting experience. I was in control of my health and my pregnancy and what I wanted. If I wanted any kind of lab work done, or if I didn't want that done, I had to say so. I wasn't told, oh, you have to get this done. I was asked, do you want an ultrasound? Do you want lab work done? All of this is completely in my hands. It was given to me. So I went ahead and said, yes, I would like an ultrasound, because I wasn't 100% sure how far along I was at that time. And I got lab work done to, make sure everything was, my levels were okay, and the baby wasn't testing for any serious complications. And everything came back great. No complications, no abnormalities or anything like that of that sort. So fast forward to around 9.5 weeks along, I kind of made a joke a few days prior to then, to my husband. I was saying, oh, it's kind of fun, I haven't had any headaches, which I had in my previous two pregnancies. I had really bad migraines and headaches, and it was just something that I was told, you have to deal with it, take some Tylenol if you can't stand the pain, or if it gets too bad. So I went ahead and I did that through my pregnancies like my doctor suggested, and this time around, I hadn't had any up until then, and then I hit 9.5 weeks and I was hit like a freight train. I'm not even kidding you. I was having migraine after migraine. I was having them 4 and 5 days a week. And when I say a migraine, I'm talking, what I was experiencing was, I'd have an aura, which if you don't know what that is, or you have never experienced migraine, I was basically seeing like zigzag lines. And that was the first sign of me knowing that I was going to have a migraine. It was kind of like a warning period, like, hey, it's coming. And then about 20 to 30 minutes later, those would become black spots. I would lose vision in one or both eyes almost completely. And then I'd have tingling running down my arms and through my fingers. And then that would become more severe, and I would lose feeling or complete use of my arm, like paralysis basically on the left side of my body only. And then it would work its way into my face. My speech was affected, like my speech was slurred, or my speech was almost to the point of being non-existent, or when I was talking, what I was trying to say made sense in my head, but what was coming out of my mouth made no sense at all. And so it was really scary. It was a very scary experience. I had them in my previous pregnancies, like I said in my last video, but these seemed to be a lot worse, and they were happening a lot more frequently, to the point where, you know, at the time my husband was only working half days, so he was able to come home and take care of the kids, because I was at the point where I could barely get off of the couch or out of bed because I was in so much pain. I could not see, I could hardly walk, I couldn't really communicate. The very first time this happened, I was like almost at the second trimester of my first pregnancy, and my family thought I was having a stroke. And they rushed me to the emergency room by the time I got there, and they said, you know, what's going on? The symptoms had started to clear up. And in my last pregnancies, these migraines would only last like, you know, an hour or two, sometimes 3. This pregnancy, they went from, you know, lasting 2 or 3 hours to 6, 7, 8 hours. And then, you know, even with taking Tylenol and laying down and drinking water and resting, nothing was helping. So I went ahead and I talked to my midwife, and I said, hey, you know, I don't know that this is normal. Like, it's not. From what I'm being told by one of my best friends who went to nursing school, you know, she said, you know, I have migraines, she suffers from them too, but that's not at all what a typical migraine is. Like, you're not experiencing a regular migraine. And having been told for the last 5 years that I was fine, that, you know, just take Tylenol, and with them getting worse, I was starting to get worried. And so after several weeks of this going on, I went ahead and I made an appointment with a neurologist, and I went in and I told them, I did a little bit of research, and I said, I think that I have hemiplegic migraines. And most of you probably don't know what that is. It's fairly rare. It's like one of the rarest forms of migraines that there are. So he went ahead and he looked at me like I was a little crazy at first and said, you do realize how rare that these are, right? And I said, yes, I know. I continued to explain my symptoms and what was occurring when I was having these migraines, and he kind of looked at me and he was like, well, that's everything that you have said is what goes along with hemiplegic migraines. So he called in another doctor after assessing me and doing some tests, and sure enough, he said this to the doctor, and the doctor looked at him and then looked at me and was like, are you sure? And he said, go ahead and, you know, talk to her, ask her the questions and do an assessment on yourself. He went ahead and did it, and by the end of the appointment, they were saying, you know, this is 100% what your diagnosis is. You have hemiplegic migraines, and it's severe. So basically, you know, this affects my day-to-day life. At any point in time, any of these things, the hemiplegia, which if you don't know what that is, it's when you lose, you know, mobility in your limbs. And most of the times people that have this either experience it on their right or their left side. And for me, it's my left side, and I'm right-handed dominant, so I guess it's a plus side for me. But that at any point in time, it could become permanent, that I could lose complete mobility in my arm, that I could basically become paralyzed. I could, you know, have seizures. I could go into a coma. I could actually have a stroke and not even realize it, because these symptoms are the same symptoms that someone who's having a stroke is having, except for these symptoms, when I'm having my migraines, they go away after several hours. So for someone who suffers from hemiplegic migraines, they may not know that they're having a stroke because they think they're having a migraine, and that could be deadly. So they went ahead and said, you know, you are deemed high risk. Your pregnancy, the fact that you've had 2 kids that came out healthy is wonderful, and that you've had very minimal complications in those pregnancies, it's a miracle. The fact that you're able to carry a baby as far as you have and give birth to them and then come out being fine and healthy, it's beyond what they know about this, because not a lot of doctors know a whole lot about hemiplegic migraines. They just know that the complications that come along with it can be very serious and life-threatening for some people. So they said, we need to get you in contact with a high-risk OBGYN. And so that was back on May 9th. And it is now the end of June. And I am just now I will have my first appointment with the high-risk OBGYN at the end of this week. So it has taken, 7 weeks, almost 8 weeks to get an appointment with this doctor. She had to get referrals from my midwife, from my neurologist, assess my case, and decide whether or not she was capable of caring for my specific needs. I don't know what to expect. I haven't had any prenatal care in 6.5, 7 weeks now. But everything is going smoothly as of now. The baby, from what I've been told, is healthy. Everything looks good, which I can't even begin to thank God enough for blessing us with, you know, not only the information of finding this out, because I've been suffering with this for 5 years and being told there was nothing wrong with me and that I was fine, but that our baby is healthy. And I am seeing the neurologist on a regular basis for checkups. He put me on medication once a month. It's an injection that I have to go in and have administered that is helping the migraines. And ever since I've received the first one, I have not had a single migraine since then. So I'm beyond grateful that I'm able to function on a regular and normal basis, and that I don't have to fear of when am I going to have a migraine, when am I not going to be able to get up and help and take care of my own children, and those things. So this medication has been life-changing for me, and I have not gotten another injection. It's been 7 weeks now since I got the first one, and I asked if we could go ahead and try and do it every 3 months, because there's no research showing how this medication could affect a human fetus, and that alone is terrifying to me. I don't take medications unless I absolutely have to, and I have not seen the OBGYN, which I wanted to talk to her and get her opinion on whether or not I should be taking this medication. And we will find out at the end of this week, and I will update you guys based on what I learned from her, if there's any update on this, on my condition. And until then, thank you for watching. If you like this video and you want more updates on my pregnancy or anything in our life that's going on, please like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below. And I thank you for your guys' support, and I'm going to show you a picture of a ultrasound of our baby, and I will show you my stomach, and then I will let you guys go. Thanks for watching. So here is the baby, and I am, excuse me, that was my knee, 20 weeks along. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.